Okay. May June 2023, paper 6, variant 2. Hmm. هنا I have a spring set up the value L note is the length of the spring when the load is 0.0. خلاص, no load added to the spring. The student measures the length of the spring. She records L note 16 millimeters in the table 1.1. Draw a diagram of the spring to show clearly the length L note of the spring. How can I show clearly using a diagram the length of the spring? I can draw a spring, صح? I can draw a spring. This is my spring. But to show clearly the length of the spring, the initial length of the spring, and I have to start from this point and end at this point. This is the length L note of the spring. Okay? This is the length L0 of the spring. That's it. Okay? طيب حلو. Then the student suspends the load L 0.2 from the spring. She records a new length. She repeats the procedure. Okay. Calculate the extension E for each load using the equation E equals L minus L note and record the values of. Can I record the values of the extension for each of these lengths? How will I do that? يلا يا شباب.
new length over minus
Round up
original.
أو minus
minus يبقى 18 minus ايه 16 تبقى 2. طب the second one هنعمل ايه 21 minus
16 برضه
16. يبقى each time we will minus 16 هنا 23 minus 16 7 yeah, 24 minus 16 8 26 minus 16 هتبقى 10 بس that's it. طيب complete the column headings. يلا عايزين نكتب ال column headings L وال E. capital
نيوتن
capital L صح نيوتن ده force. ها small L
مليمتر
centimeters.
تعالوا make sure هو is it millimeters ولا centimeters. هو she records the initial length to be 16 millimeters يبقى length هنا is in millimeter and the extension also is in ايه
مليمتر
millimeters. طيب plot a graph L on the y-axis E on the x-axis. يلا on the y-axis اهو L slash newtons, E on the x-axis E slash millimeters. يلا E slash millimeters. طيب يلا let's plot the graph. L it starts from 0 all the way to 1. It's quite easy 0.2 0.4 0.6 يعني this is a very easy. يلا let's zoom in. 0 0.2 0.4 0.6 0.8 and then 1.0. Okay, E 0 2 5 7 8 10 probably I will go by 2 صح كده يعني 0 2 4 6 8 and 10. يلا this is very easy. خلي بالك يا شباب ان هنا we have okay we have a point on the origin. This is a point 0 and 0 it is a point. It's not just يعني in the graph لا it is a point here. We have to plot this point using an x. هنا I have a small point x a small x هنا which is at the origin. Second point is 0.2 2 and 0.2. Oh, the third point is 0.4 and 5 5 and 0.4 5 and 0.4 and then 7 and 0.6 7 and 0.6 and then 8 0.8 10 8 0.8 and 10 and 1. 10 and 1. Use the graph to determine the extension produced. احنا طبعا we need to draw the line of best fit. We need to draw the line of best fit. طيب let's zoom out سنة كده. If you draw the line of best fit كده, let's draw a simple line. Okay. If you draw the line of best fit this way, it looks very tempting, صح? It looks extremely tempting. بس is it correct? لا. يعني sadly I cannot draw the line of vested this way. ليه؟ It's very tempting على فكرة. It is very tempting to draw the line of vested this way. بس I cannot draw it this way. Why? Because I have 2 points below the line and no points above the line. If I have 2 points below the line and no points above the line, then this line of best fit is wrong. You have to have equal أو يعني more or less equal points above and below the line. Okay? More or less, you have to have equal points above and below the line. يبقى again, I will not draw it this way. How will I draw it? It will bend downwards a little. It will bend downwards كده شوية. Probably it will go something like this. ماشي كده. This is a much better curve أو much better line. ماشي. This is a much better line. ماشي. يلا. Use the graph to determine EA, the extension produced of a load of 0.5 newtons. How will I find EA when the load was 0.5 newtons? What will I do يا شباب? I have to draw a line from 0.5 هنا. 0.5. Okay, I'm drawing a line to show the extension. I'll find the extension كده, which is just above 5. 5.3, 5.4. So يعني something in this range, okay? 5.2. If I can write down 5.2. If you wrote down 5.2, that would be okay. 5.2 millimeters. Yeah, let's remove this line. Okay. Okay. بس يا شباب انتوا you have to okay 0.5. You have to draw this line. You have to draw the horizontal line كده and then the vertical line this way. Okay, good. Next question. I'm investigating the cooling of water. This is the thermometer. What is the room temperature? يلا. What's the room temperature? 23 degrees Celsius. Soon pours 200 centimeters cubed of water into a beaker. Okay. He places a lid on the beaker. He places the thermometer in the hot water in the beaker. He records in table 2.1 the temperature of hot water. He records the temperature of the hot water at time t equals 0. He immediately starts the stopwatch. He continues readings at 30-second intervals until he has 7 sets of readings. Complete the column headings. يلا. First of all, how can I complete the column headings?
seconds و
Mhm.
degrees Celsius.
Degrees Celsius. What about the column of a T?
0, 30, 60,
Yes.
90, 120, 150, 180, 210.
خلاص بقى.
هو 180 بس.
180. طيب. Calculate the decrease in temperature between 0 and 180. Can I find the decrease in temperature?
75 لا 92 minus 75
92 minus 75 صح؟
هتكون 17.
17 degrees Celsius. يلا. Calculate the average rate of cooling. Delta theta over delta T. يلا. You have delta theta and you have delta T. What's delta theta? 17. أهو.
أيوة over 180
over 180, which would give me a rate of cooling of
0.094.
0.094. ماشي. ايه اليونت بقى؟ include the unit. Include the unit.
Seconds per degrees Celsius.
Seconds per degree Celsius ولا degree Celsius per second؟
هو الفرق.
الفرق هنا degrees Celsius was above and the seconds was below, يبقى degrees Celsius per second. There's a huge difference. Okay. There is a huge difference because this means that in each second I'm losing 0.094 degrees Celsius. But the seconds per degree Celsius means that for each degrees Celsius difference I will take a time of 0.094 seconds, which is يعني ايه لا it's wrong, it's not the rate of cooling. Okay. طيب. The student states that the water cools slowly. Now the water is cooling too slowly. Suggest two changes to the experiment that the student makes to increase the rate of cooling. يلا, how can I increase the rate of cooling? يلا, very easy. How can I?
ما
Yeah.
تحطش ليد.
Yes, remove the lid. ايه تاني? What else? يلا, I can remove the lid. What else? Hmm. What else? How can I make it cool يعني much more quickly يا شباب? طيب, to make it more quickly, I can use مثلا a metal beaker, for example. I can blow some wind, صح? I can use a fan, صح? Use a fan to blow air, to blow air over the water, صح? If I have a cup of coffee, for example, and I want this cup of coffee to cool very quickly, I can blow some air above this cup of coffee. State one precaution. يلا, what are the precautions that I have to take? What are the precautions of the thermometer? يلا, we know them.
read the thermometer at eye level to avoid
Yes. Take the
parallax error.
reading. Yes, take the reading of the thermometer perpendicularly. Take the reading of the thermometer perpendicularly. Why? To avoid the parallax error. حلو. The student removes the measuring cylinder. Sorry, he uses a measuring cylinder to measure 200 degrees, 200 centimeters cubed of water. He takes the reading from the bottom of the meniscus. Explain the reason for taking the reading from the bottom of the meniscus. Why do we always take the reading from the bottom of the meniscus? Hmm. Why do we take the reading from the bottom of the meniscus? Does anyone know? We always say take the reading from the bottom of the meniscus. So why is that? Because there's a small difference between the bottom and the top of the meniscus. Okay, because there is a small difference between the bottom and the top of the meniscus. Bottom and the top of the meniscus. Meniscus. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Moving on to the next question. Student investigates the refraction of light using a semicircular transparent block. Okay, the refraction of light using a semicircular transparent block. Draw a normal NL through the center of AB. Yeah, let's draw normal. Yeah, let's zoom in. Normal NL through the center of AB. Okay, this is the center of AB. You have to measure the distance AB and draw a normal. I would draw normal. Yep, this is normal, NL, and I will name it NL. طيب continue the normal so that it passes through the curved side of the block. حلو. Label the normal NL. Okay, جميل. Label the point C where the NL crosses AB. Point C where NL crosses AB. This is point C. خلاص, I took 1 mark. يلا, draw a line DC below PC. Draw a line DC below PC. Okay, ادي PC. We need to draw a line DC which is below it at an angle 20 degrees to the normal, to the left of the normal. يعني أنا on the left of the normal and below the below line PC. This is PC. This is PC. Below it and to the left of the normal, I will draw a line DC 20 degrees to the normal. يعني 20 degrees to the normal. يعني I will put my protractor this way, and I will measure from 0, 10, 20. Okay, so this is 20 degrees. I'll measure 20 degrees. And I will name the line DC. صح. I will name the line DC. يلا. Okay, easy. Then mark with neat crosses. X's كده. The positions for 2 pins on DC at a suitable distance. Label the positions P1 and P2. Label the positions P1 and P2 on DC. Where do you think we should put the pins? Where do you think we should put the pins? حد يعرف؟ احنا we always place the pins فين؟ At يعني as far as possible صح؟ As far as possible. ادي X and another X. 2 pins. P1 and P2. The distance between P1 and P2 is has to be at least 5 centimeters. Distance between P1 and P2, it has to be at least 5 centimeters. Okay, that's why we place them as far as possible. As far as possible between each other. يبقى this is the distance between P1 and P2. حلو. طيب. The student looks from the position of the eye shown in figure 3.1 to observe the images of P1 and P2 through the side of AB. She places 2 pins, P3 and P4, between her eyes so that P3 and P4 and the image of P1 and P2 are seen through the block. The positions of P3 and P4 are shown. Draw a line joining the positions of P3 and P4. Continue the line to AB. Label E the end of the furthest from AB. And I will just join them and name the end of the line E. يلا, I will join them together using طبعا the ruler. Okay. And I will name the end of the line from the opposite side E. This is the line طبعا انتوا you should draw the line using a ruler. Okay, using this ruler. Measure the acute angle between NL and EC. Measure the acute angle between NL and EC. This acute angle between NL and EC. Let's measure this angle using the protractor. When I measure this angle, what will the angle be for this question? Should be around 32. Okay, should be around 32. If you get 33, okay, 31, okay. State one precaution that the student takes to produce an accurate ray trace. What's one precaution for this question? What is one precaution for this question? Any ideas?
ال he could draw the lines يعني تكون thin.
Yes, بالظبط. Use thin lines. Exactly. Yeah. Use thin lines. I have to use thin lines. طيب. Moving on to the next question. The student replaces the transparent block on ray trace sheet as shown. She replaces pins P1 and P2 on 9DC in the same positions. Draw the line joining positions P5 and P6. Continue the line to C. I will join the positions of P5 and P6 in P5 and P6, and I will continue to until it reaches C. This is a straight line using طبعا the ruler. Label G the end furthest from AB. Label G the end furthest from AB. Okay. Measure the acute angle alpha between AB and GC. The acute angle alpha between AB and GC. Can I find the acute angle between AB at the ABO and GC, the one which we just drew? Yep, I need to measure this angle. Yep, if we measure this angle using the protractor, it would be around 69. Okay, if you get 70, it's okay. If you get 70, it's okay. If you get 68, okay. ماشي. يعني usually in these measurements you have a very small range. It's usually +1 or +2 from the actual yeah, angle. How can I find beta, okay, between GC and the normal? Beta between ايه ده? Where's the normal? هو احنا we didn't draw normal. Do we have to draw normal? لا, you don't need to. You don't need to draw a normal in this question. But I will assume that I had a normal. How can I find the angle beta? Between the
90 minus 69.
yes, 90 minus 69. 90 minus 69 would give me 21 degrees. حلو. A student suggests that the angle beta should be equal to the angle of instance I equals 20. Beta should be equal to 20. State state whether this supports this suggestion or not. Does it support it or not?
Yes.
Yes, they are equal. Why?
Within limits of accuracy.
Yes, okay. But I will say that 20 and 21, 20 degrees and 21 degrees are close. And within the limits are close and within the limits of experimental accuracy. حلو. They are close and within the limits of experimental accuracy. Yeah. Moving on to the investigation. A student investigates the change in current in a conducting liquid as the distance between the electrodes is changed. We put these two electrodes and I will measure the current. Plan an experiment to investigate the change in the current in the liquid as the distance between the electrodes is changed. خلاص, this is a very simple example على فكرة. It's a very simple experiment. It looks quite hard. No, it looks quite hard, but it's actually very simple. It's very easy. Why? Because I will only change what? What's the only thing I will be changing يا شباب in this experiment?
current.
Distance.
Distance. Huh? يبقى I will change the distance. That's all. That's all there is to this question. يعني هنا, for example, the first thing I write down is the range of values. Okay. يبقى الرينج of values اللي هو a distance between sorry. Okay. A distance range of values is what? Is the distance between the electrodes. Okay. Distance between the electrodes. And then I will state some distances. What are some suitable distances for this experiment? What are
10,
some
15, 20, 20,
Yes, I can
30,
even start from 5
35.
centimeters. 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters, 15, 20, and 25 centimeters. Okay, so these are quite suitable distances for this experiment. Okay, you should explain briefly how you would do the experiment, state the key variables, draw the table, and explain how you would reach a conclusion. What are the key variables? What are the controlled variables for this experiment? يلا. What are the controlled variables for this experiment?
electrodes material.
الماتيريال of the electrodes. Okay. يعني. What else?
room temperature.
Uh,
السوليوشن.
room temperature is not wrong. Okay, I can write down room temperature. انت قلت ايه؟ room temperature.
السوليوشن اللي فيه electrodes.
Um, a type of a liquid. ماشي. I can say type of the liquid اللي هو السولوشن. What else? Hmm. Hmm. يعني I can say ال volume of the liquid. صح؟ Of the liquid.
ال temperature بتاعت ال liquid.
ال temperature of ماشي. Not bad. Okay. Temperature of the liquid. حلو. These are the controlled variables or some of the controlled variables. Explain بقى. Do I هنا do I need to state the apparatuses that I will use؟ لا. I don't need to explain the apparatuses that I will use. بس هنا I need to say what are the steps. What is the method? What are the steps يا شباب؟ يلا tell me.
هنmeasure ال distance وبعديها هنشوف ال current يعني measure current
Okay.
and then repeat it بس with different distances.
Yes, بالظبط. Excellent. Okay. Measure the distance. Measure the distance between the electrodes. Okay, take the reading of the current from the ammeter. Of the current from the ammeter. You can say measure the distance between the electrodes using a ruler, for example. You can say that if you want to. Using a ruler. Take the reading of the current from the ammeter and then finally repeat the process for different distances between them. Distances between the electrodes. حلو. These are the steps. Let's write down a table. Yeah, I stated briefly what will I do. Can I write down a table? It's going to be a very simple table. صح؟ يلا. What will I write down in the table?
different distances وال currents بتاعت each distance.
Different distances, yes, and the current in each distance. يلا. Distances using a centimeter and the current in a meter. صح. ماشي. ايه ده؟ ثانية واحدة. هنا I had a battery. صح؟ If actually احنا we forgot something. One of the key variables, one of the very, very important key variables in this question is that we have to state that the voltage is the same. That the same power source, the same voltage from the power source. Oh, same voltage from the power source. Okay, this is crucial. Okay, because I have a battery of current. How will the current pass without the battery? How will the current pass without the power source? That, and finally, how will I explain the other conclusion? Yeah, what's the conclusion? What is the conclusion for this question? Yeah. What do I usually write down in the conclusion? For each إيه Yeah. I always said it for each length. صح? For each distance. Measure the current, okay? Measure the current more than once. صح? For each distance, measure the current more than once and which is repeating يعني and take average طيب after I measure the current and take average, what should I do? I have to hmm, يلا I have to record the readings in the table. Record the readings in the table. طيب after I record the readings in the table, what do I do بقى? I have to compare the results. I have to compare hmm, the results of the different distances and current. To see, for example, to see if there is any effect. If there is any effect. Okay. حلو قوي.